Virgin Media, and you're involved in OCAD's Sumo Robot Competition. That sounds like a lot of fun. To my right, Steve Jones, you're the president of Bug and Bot, Ontario distributor of Solar Botics. And joining us again in the chat room, Bruce McMillan, president of Canada First Robotic Games. Let's just start playing. What do we have here? Do these robots have names?
Well, starting with our photo popper here. He's a light-activated bug. He's fully autonomous. He looks for light because that's what he eats.
So a solar robot.
He's totally solar powered. No on-off switch. If I move the light over here, he'll move over here. If I move it over here, he'll move back over here. He'll stay within that circle of light. If a shadow goes across one of his eyes, he'll go around the shadow. If his touch sensor touches something, he'll go away from that object, even if it means leaving the circle of light and then move back towards the light pool. And we do that with just, simple electronic components. There's no computer based in that. And then from there, we go up to our Scout Walker two-motor walker here. He uses a four-nervous loop to control his legs, and he's completely adaptive. He knows when he's walking on a smooth surface, and if I put him on the carpet, you'll see his step change to...
Now, when you say he knows...
That's where we get a little tricky.
Okay.
His body knows because he gets feedback from his motors and whatnot, and it changes the timing of the nervous net. He doesn't know like we know. He doesn't have a brain, so to speak. It's like an ant. An ant just responds to his environment from certain stimulus, and that's all this is doing, is responding to his environment.
And what about these little guys over here?
This guy here is the same as that one there. I just made him from scratch. He has no printed circuit board, so he's much smaller. And if you can see, his circuits are really tiny.
And when you say you made him from scratch, do you have a little area in your house or your workshop where you have all types of parts? And
oh, yes.
You put together robots?
All over the house. If you ask my wife.
Robots everywhere.
That's it, yeah. And this is a prototype I'm developing right now for a kit. He's called a turbot, or a tumbling robot. And what he'll do is he does the same as this guy here. Is he looks for light, but his actions will tumble him over, so to speak, like that. So he'll always tumble around. But with these long legs, he's able to climb over things much bigger than himself. I have the table where I normally keep my robots has a 4-inch wall, and he can climb over it.
Oh, wow.
He's always getting into trouble, this guy. Then we have a little solar-powered car here that we use for teaching kids the basics before getting into this stuff here. And he takes about 40 seconds to charge up, and he'll shoot right off this table.
Now, will that work in sunlight?
Oh, they work best in sunlight.
Okay, they do work best in sunlight.
Yeah, it's just fluorescent light's the wrong spectrum of light. Halogen's the closest to natural sunlight, so that's why we use halogen light.
Now, the question I have, this is for Andrew and Doug. Kids at your school, students get to learn about robotics and robots. So technically, you could say, oh, I'm off to robot class. What does that really mean? What does one learn about robots?
Well, at the university, learning about robotics means to develop automation for industry.
Okay.
To make...
like making cars, for example?
Making cars, effectively...
assembly line?
Assembly line, even washing cars, welding, and all sorts of manufacturing tasks that are normally done with tools by humans that could be done with similar tools or retrofitted tools with robotics. This is one aspect. Others, so basically the idea is that for quality and removing individuals from hazardous environments, it's good to put machines to work. So we teach them how to make them, or how to integrate them in the environment that they're supposed to operate. For instance, nuclear reactors. Sometimes robots are sent into the radiation area to help if there is an incident of some sorts. So instead of sending humans, there are machines that could be sent. These are mobile robots, effectively gadgets which are similar to this idea. They have either legs or wheels, and they are remotely controlled. They are in some sense more primitive than these robots because they don't have much intelligence. On the other hand, they are sturdy and robust, so can actually lift heavy buckets or perform some sort of task that is normally done by humans.
Roberto's in our chat room at talktv.ca.
Hello.
What are our users saying?
Well, Andrea MTL is asking, I wonder if the body shape, sorry, let me put my mic on. Andrea, hello, hi, here I am. I wonder if the body shape of the robots was because of need to make them work, or was it to mimic the look of the insects?
Through trial and error, it wasn't intentional to make them look like insects, but Mother Nature, having millions of years of evolution ahead of us, came upon the optimum design. And so when we come to make ours to the optimum design, it just ended up looking like insects.
Wow. Doug, now you're at OCAD, Ontario College of Art and Design, and you're teaching robotics there.
Oh, yeah, we've been teaching electronics, robotics, computer programming there for
So how does that
17
difference
years.
than what's, say, available at U of T, than what Andrew's teaching? What type of...
Well, our investigation into robotics would be more around how do we navigate through the world, or gestural studies, or in the case of the robot that I got my class to build this year, it's more choreography, where the robot...
Oh, is this the dancing robot?
Yeah, these robots won a dancing competition last year. They're more like sheepdogs, but it ended up that the robots controlled the people that were trying to control them.
Really?
More than we were controlling the robots, and I think that's what ended up winning the competition.
So tell me a bit about these two robots.
It's only this one, and
Oh, it's this one, okay.
yeah, it's controlled by a whistle, something like a sheepdog. Yeah, I'm sure it'll wipe out your microphones. And there were 10 of them attempted to build, only 3 of them actually got done. And they work like this.
Wow.
Turn it off there. But if you have 10 of them all trying to follow the same commands, there's a whole sequence of commands that they're supposed to go through, it messes up really quickly. And it shows that the links between machines and control over the machines, actually it's a two-way street.
Now, Bruce, the students you work with, why are they fascinated or interested, or, you know, why do they want to give up many hours of their time to work with robots? What's the attraction?
I think there's something very sexy about robotics, whether it's the Canadarm that we see in the various space shots, or whether it's robots working in dangerous circumstances, such as diffusing bombs or whatever. There's just kind of a mystique or an aura about robots and being able to control things. Now, what you've seen here are a lot of autonomous robots, which are powered by solar powered and so on. Where our students, I think, get their thrill is ours are remote controlled robots, but they actually have control of the robots. They can turn them, make them shoot, make them do a variety of tasks. So I think what the students see in the whole robotics competition is an idea of having fun, as well as learning a little bit of applied math and science at the same time.
Steve, do you love to play with toys? Is that what got you interested in working with robots?
I guess. There's something about when you finish that last circuit and you put the light on it or turn the switch on and it springs to life, and maybe blasphemous to say, but it's like playing God. And most people that build robots, you know, that thrill of, there's just nothing to beat that thrill when you first turn on your robot and it works.
Oh, this question is for all 4 guests. When you're at a party or in a new situation, you're meeting people, and someone says, "What do you do?" and you try to explain to them what you do and what you teach, there must be the, "What? Really?" and tons of questions must be thrown at you. What are the common questions? What do people want to know about robots? Because I know, until I did this segment, that the only thing I know about robots is that they're really cool. That's all I know. So I'm curious, what type of questions do people ask you?
Well,
Go for it.
yeah, I frequently get asked, what do you do? So I end up with robotics, and I do like to talk about, naturally, so I end up just talking about it. So the questions are, what type, what applications, whether they are hobby robots or toy robots or robots that can do something meaningful. So I deal with the latter. So I tell them the variety of applications, and as Mike mentioned, We built a bomb disposal robot for the RCMP, and everybody's eye pop out. They've seen gadgets of this kind on the television, or robotics for the pipe gas. There's snakes that go into the gas pipes of consumers' gas to repair them, and so on and so forth. So you can talk for hours.
I believe it. We only have a couple of minutes left. Steve, would you be able to take this guy? Could we bring him over here? Because I know we need him on a flat surface. Yeah, we'll demic you here. And I'll grab the handheld. Yep. All right.
Can you get through, Steve?
Yep, we'll take it. Let's see.
Just watch the cord here.
We could do it. Here's a good space right here. We can get this on camera.
This is our 2-motor walker. We'll start with him first, and we turn it on, and away he goes. Now, right now, because of the loading of his motors and whatnot, he knows he's walking on a fairly smooth surface. If I put him on carpet, you would see a noticeable change in his step, and he would adapt to his environment. And in this particular case, he'll get right over those wires.
Aww.
Hello, little bug. How do you do?
And he has a reverse switch. If I click that, he'll back up. Just like that.
He likes me.
He even sounds like a bug.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. And then we have a really sophisticated little guy here. This guy here, he's a 4-motor walker. First thing he does is look around, see what is going on in his environment. If there's something he likes, he'll turn towards it. In this particular case, and he'll walk for a couple of minutes, and then he'll stop. If his touch sensors touch something, he'll turn or back up.
Cool.
You must be the cool uncle, or the cool cousin, or... Wow.
It's amazing. Whenever I'm at a show or I put these guys out in public, you should see the crowds of people we get.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing. We did the Toronto Hobby Show in November at the International Center, and I had exhibitors complaining that I was stealing people because my crowd...
You're drawing all the crowds.
Yeah.
We have to take a break, but we are going to be back on Electric Avenue. I want to know when we will have robotic maids, like in the chat. We'll find out.
Take it from the top.
I tried to quit other times. I'd joined 2 smoke programs, one quite expensive, and was hypnotized 3 times. It was like giving up a buddy. It was giving up a friend. It was giving up something that I have had all my adult life. That's why I truly didn't expect this last experience to work and work as well as it did. This is the best time of my life.
Double Take is the funniest movie of the year.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so the year's only a couple of weeks old. But still,
What is up with your eye?
Eddie Griffin,
Act black. That's all you gotta do.
Orlando Jones,
What is his job, Turkey?
All right, mama.
The Switch is on.
It's the first time on a train.
It's the first time for everything.
Double Take starts Friday, January 12th.
What does it take to be the world's largest fund company? It takes over 500 investment professionals who research over 5,000 companies each year. It takes over 30,000 people working day and night on your behalf. It takes resources and results. So if that's what it takes, imagine what it can give back. Fidelity, get the world's largest mutual fund company working for you.
I never thought about giving blood until I had the accident. Now I know why people need to give blood. Because it can happen to you.
Canadian Blood Services asks, if you knew you could save a life, would you? Blood, it's in you to give.
Come on, Lloyd. Come
on. Football, eh? Reminds me of my days with United. Incredible. We won the cup back in 35, it was.
With a smarter search on your MSN.ca homepage, you'll find what you're looking for faster.
Topical then.
Usually on the first try.
I scored a hat trick.
So which one are you doing, Grandad?
I was away when they took this, and I was fighting in Africa. Mosquitoes, malaria.
January 21st on CTV. It's time to roll out the red carpet for the stars of motion picture and television. Will James Gandolfini, Rob Lowe, or Martin Sheen win Best Actor? Who will win Best Drama Series? Will one of The Sopranos take home Top Actress honors? Who will be picked as this year's best? The Golden Globes. January 21st on CTV. Brought to you by the all-new 2001 Sebring from Chrysler.
Is Futurama in our near future? That's what I want to answer this segment on Electric Avenue. You can join us online at talktv.ca. You can email us, chatroom@talktv.ca, or give us a call, toll-free, 1-877-674-CHAT. Again, that's 1-877-674-CHAT. We're talking about robots. And Roberto, you're at the talktv.ca chat room.
Indeed.
What are the users saying?
Well, there are a couple of questions. Great question here about the use of this technology for artificial limbs. Do you view this as applicable to artificial limbs with the movement of hands and such? And another one, your favorite sci-fi robot.
Okay,
your favorite TV robot.
We'll start with the artificial limbs one, and then we'll get into talking about the roles robots play in popular culture. So, yeah, what about the technology being used to...
Sure, most of this technology could be used for artificial limbs, but there are hurdles to get over. I mean, there's definitely interfacing mechanical with biological that has to be approached. I mean, there's been a lot of work done in those areas, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
There's also a new application in robotics in terms of teaching medical students, where you have a robotic patient, and you have certain symptoms of the patient, and the students have to apply certain techniques to try and solve the problem that the patient is having. And obviously you don't want to do it on a live person, so you do it on a robot. But there's a lot more robotics, I think, in medicine coming up as there may be in terms of artificial limbs and other types of artificial and medical products.
And our second chat room question, I'm going to start with you, Doug, and we'll go around. Your favorite TV, movie, robot?
Oh, it's definitely C-3PO, because I think what robots do is translate...
So cool.
Oh, he's very
so cool.
Absolutely. They translate things for us that we can't see. They can go places where we can't go. They can see data that we can't see. And basically they translate that for us and make it human. So.
Andrew?
10 o'clock news or 11. I don't know any of the shows on robotics, really. I don't follow them. So, sorry, I can't help you with that. But I watch the news frequently or daily. So there is a bit of robotic technology in it.
Fair enough. I think I'd have to pick, you know what I was a big fan of in the 80s? Remember the movie Short Circuit? I thought number 5 was pretty cool. And Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons, also one of my favorites. And yeah, of course, I have to mention C-3PO and R2-D2.
Bender from Futurama.
Yes, another good one. And the Beastie Boys in their Intergalactic video have a huge robot that I love. Steve, favorite robot?
Johnny Five.
Yeah?
Johnny
Yes,
Five.
That's my favorite. Of course. Because he becomes something more through inexplicable means to be more lifelike or intelligent. And most of my favorite robots aren't the ones that do what they're supposed to do, but the ones that have a little quirk about them.
Their own personality.
Right.
Astro Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, your favorite?
I like R2-D2, actually. I think he had a lot of personality, and I think he really added to the movie, to the whole Star Wars series. So
actually, if I recall, when the movie came out, and then discussion about robotics and R2-D2, and that used to be, in fact, I use this in classroom, something like R2-D2. That's the future. And in fact, look, this is, when was that? Late 80s, I believe. So by now we should have had it, but we still don't have it.
That's the question I have, because growing up, watching the Jetsons and movies like Short Circuit, 2000 and 2001, it seemed very, very far away. I mean, there were stores even in the 90s who were naming their business something, something 2001, right? So it seemed very, very far away. We're here. It's not that much different than, I don't know, it doesn't seem to me, the world's not that much different than it was 5, 10 years ago. Yet I'm sure you could throw some examples at me, like the internet and VCR and call waiting, and I'd say, oh yeah, I like all those things. But when are we going to see robots cleaning our homes, or I don't know, walking our dogs, or doing all those things we don't want to do.
But I think we're conditioned, as was answered earlier, that these little robots look like insects. You're talking about robots that basically look like people or do people functions. I think that the new age robotics may do things that maybe even people don't do. They may move into areas that traditionally people have not gone.
Well, Dylan, our camera guy, as he likes to call himself, pointed out that we have a couple of robotic cams here in the chat room, one on the balcony and one behind us. But again, it's the conditioning, yeah, and it's the conditioning. Right now, this is RoboCam number 1. And can we throw up RoboCam number 2? RoboCam number 2. Zoom in, wow! But again, when I think robots, you know, I know robotics are used to build cars and assembly lines, yet I'm wondering, when are they going to look like humans? Or will they ever look like humans?
The Japanese are making robots purely for entertainment that look human.
And like dogs, too.
Well, like dogs
yeah,
mostly.
the dog, the robot dog was very popular last year.
But one of the first robots I ever saw was Abe Lincoln at the 1964 World's Fair in New York City. And the Disney people did a wonderful job of mechanizing Abe Lincoln and have Abe Lincoln deliver his Gettysburg Address. So, I mean, the technology is there, but maybe people are bored in making robots look like people. Maybe they're going to make robots look like other things and do other things.
It's an interesting twist on this. There's an Australian artist called Stellar who, using the muscle stimulators like the ones Dr. Ho makes, you control his body over the internet. So it might be cheaper just to use people to do jobs for you over the internet than build machines. It costs a lot
I know there was a big fear at one point that robots were going to take all of our jobs and they were going to do everything for us, and you know that fear, right? Like, well, you know, computers, oh no, I'm not going to have a job in 5, 10, 15 years. I better learn how to work on a computer.
It's going to happen.
You think that's going to happen?
Yeah.
But someone's got to build computers, and someone's got to program the computers, and so there's always going to be jobs for people.
Yeah, there'll be more and more automation in life. And again, the robots do not look like humans necessarily. They're sort of intelligent machines. Slowly we build them up and make them learn. You know, there are robots that learn by experience, like children. So a lot of functions, some I would name, maybe around here, but it could be done by machines. You never know. But actually, it's true. It is. But the question you may ask is why? What's the benefit? If something is...
Well, why are we making robots right now?
Well, to replace human in...
to replace humans?
No,
Ian, I was going to say...
In circumstances where, like in mining or in paint shops within a car plant, where hazardous facilities.
To save money.
Well,
the camera here and a camera here, I think that's to save money.
In a lot of cases, it's a health and safety issue.
Yeah.
In mining, certainly it would be a health and safety issue. In a lot of the automobile plants, it's repetitious work that can be easily done. Yes, it's to replace people, but it's to give people jobs which are more thinking jobs than repetitious mechanical jobs.
Well, I like this. I was reading an article at the National Post Online about robots. It's titled Return of the Robot. And it said that the sci-fi community has for a long time been battling public relations problems when it came to robots. So, in an attempt to address this, what they did in 1942, writer Isaac Asimov created 3 laws of robotics. One was a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. 2, a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So I found this amusing because this here is in 1942. Is, you know, the sci-fi community is trying to write novels and books and produce television shows and radio specials and movies about robots, but they didn't want to scare the masses, right? Because there was something scary about robots, so they wrote these 3 laws. Do you think people in the year 2001, do you think we're still a bit scared of robots? Yeah?
A lot of the scientific community are creating robots that mimic...
On the last episode of Dragon Ball Z.